Just skim the top. You can see that I'm skimming the paint that's been floating there.
So is
Off
that
and up.
instead of the newspaper?
You can use newspaper. This is just to start out with.
Oh, okay.
So it's
When
kind of
you're-
like cleaning the swimming pool.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just
Okay.
skimming the top when we start out. Then you can use your newspaper to skim
Okay.
later. Just when it's been sitting a while that you want to do this. All right, so and this is to wipe up any spills. Because trust me, you don't want to have you don't want to slip on Carradine. You will be doing the splits. All right, so Scott, you can arrange this whichever way you want because I just did it because of the way it was.
Sure.
So I'm gonna actually come over on this side. I'm gonna work vertically on
sorry,
this
sorry.
side and horizontally on this side because of the way the tray is set up. And I'm assuming most people are right-handed. Are you lefty? Okay, we're gonna have to figure out a good, I think maybe, okay, well, if it becomes an issue or difficult, let me know and we'll help you, because I know it's like thinking backwards for you, everything having to do backwards. First thing you need to do before you put any paint on your tray is stir it. And stir it good, because what happens is this is golden fluid acrylic, and it's a thinned version of acrylic paint, thin version of tubed paint. And so there's water added. But then you even add more water to thin it out so it will float on top of the tray. But what happens is if it sits for a while, the pigments will settle down to the bottom, and then you just have colored water on the top, and then you don't get a nice color, you don't get dark colors, you don't get a deep look to your paint. It just looks very watery. The paint will not be as brilliant when you first start. So what you're going to do is I'll start with red, because red is a color, and you'll find that your warm colors, red, yellow, and orange, tend to be what we call aggressive. They just, if you put a drop in, it just takes over the whole tray. So use those first before you use other colors, or you'll have, if you put all your beautiful patterns on and then you have one drop of red and it covers the whole tray, but oh my gosh, you got to layer more paint in. So use the warm colors early on when you start. Because what happens is when you're putting the paint on, it's repelling each other. It's pushing, the colors are pushing each other away.
So red, yellow.
Red, yellow, and orange tend to be
Okay.
stronger and push
Okay.
other
Is that
paints
because
away.
the pigments weigh less?
I'm
Because I
not
know the
sure.
green is one of the heaviest pigments
It
out
could
there.
be. It could be very, very well that. I'm not really chemically knowledgeable about how they make the paint, but I know from experience that
That's
you've
what
got
happens.
this beautiful design, and then all of a sudden you put red on, and it's like it just totally destroys it. So you start by having your hand close to the tray, not so that the paint touches the tray, but you don't want the paint to break the plane of the water, because you can see white was not being nice today, and it all sunk. Even though I mixed it well, it has to do with water temperature too. So as you drop your paint in, you move your hand around. I'm doing random drops rather than a precise type of marbling. You can do precision work, but you can see the red is really spreading, which is fine to start with. And as I put it in, you can see it's pushing the other paint away from it. Okay, so then I usually try to alternate. I'm just going to be real, stick with the color wheel here and do the complements. So red and green are complementary colors. And because this paint doesn't have a lot of tension with paint in it, you can see that it's really pushing. But as we go along and add more paint colors, the paints will actually not spread as much. Okay, so orange and blue are complements. And I can see there's a little bit of dry paint. If you see that kind of thing, just pull it off with your finger, because it will leave a white spot in your paper. That's your marble. So this is called the stone pattern, and I'm just using large stones with eyedroppers. So we have yellow. Okay, but yellow's not spreading too much. Yellow is a color that really hard. Push that corner down.
Cool.
Okay, so now I'll take it over to the sink and I'll rinse it off and then we'll hang it up. So come on over of the tray. So then it becomes like an L. And you just keeping your fingers along the edges, you slide the paint towards you. Oops, and sometimes your finger breaks through. Just keep holding on. And it cleans off the paint. Then you start in the center, run your fingers across, lift up towards you, and you've cleaned off the excess paint. And just, I have a little garbage bucket for each table. And then if you have some Kyrgyzstan that happens to come off the edge, just use your little towel and wipe it up. That is the
Did you
stone
make that
pattern.
look very simple?
Well, it's horizontally. You try to get one tine on the outside of your tray because that guides your comb. And you push out. So that's the gel. When you get to the top, you lift it up and you pull it over halfway through the combing pattern you just made. And here's the get. Okay, then you do vertically. So you're going to do 4 combings. So again, it's out, gel, lift up, come back halfway through, get. And that's ready to print.
That is beautiful.
So then you
Very cool.
get your paper and you
I know, right?
Magic.
print it.
Mhm.
See how I did on my, where's my X, there it is. See how it prints on this, and if I allumed it, allumed it well. Otherwise, there might be some challenges, and I will have to fix it. So again, just gently hold on to your corners so you don't drop it in. And
Oh my gosh, that is amazing.
now it's interesting to see this black. Let's see if it's rinsing off. There are
So pretty.
some little broken, you can see where the paint was drying. It may wash off. I can see signs that it might be not gonna stick.
Oh, it's so pretty.
It's on metallic, so. And you wanna go slowly, you don't want to go fast. Cause you want to create a lot of waves in your water. Ah. So I've created waves over the stones. So it looks like the stones are underwater.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. With the photo flow. And you use a whisk. Yeah, you might wanna.
I might want to get that.
So it was a regular Galget.
It's a regular
and then
Galget and then a
nonpareil.
nonpareil.
Okay.
And then you take the photo flow. I mixed a 1.5 cups of water with about 30 drops of photo flow.
Okay.
So hopefully I didn't put too much in. Let's see. And then you tap. Probably didn't put enough. You tap the
Oh.
whisk and it breaks the paint apart.
So that's how they get that on all those old books.
Yep, that's what they did. Except they used ox gall from a real ox.
We use
Which-
photo flow from real photo flow.
That's right. Ox gall stinks.
Yeah, that.
I never use ox gall. I use this.
Does this affect the tray at all?
It shouldn't because it's just floating on the surface. All right, now take your paper
That's,
and print it on top.
That is so cool.
yeah, that's really
So here's what it looks like. It's broken apart.
That's cool.
So does that let a lot of paper show through if you
Yes.
used it just in?
It lets the design
Mhm.
underneath come through.
And sorry, what was this called?
This is called Italian hair vein.
Okay. Nice.
So it just takes what you've, done, changes it a little bit. And if you have and this may be not the exact best, piece to do
It's
it
cool.
over, but you get the idea of how you break that.
This is a feather and it's called the Galget.
They'll get first, then we'll feather it.
Oh, those are such pretty
Aren't
colors.
they pretty colors?
Oh,
Nice
that's
combo.
gorgeous.
And I'm gonna still the non-parade comb over here. Is that kind of goofy here? All right, there we go. And pull it down once. And then take a 2-inch comb. And it goes straight out. Straight back. Now that's like the Gothic somewhat,
I was gonna say, isn't that like the?
but we're using the non-pareil rather than the 1/2 inch.
Okay.
Cool.
You can wiggle it. Oh wait, or you can also do out and back too with this.
Yeah.
So
Oh, pretty. Yeah. That looks great. And so that's feathery?
that's called feather.
Feather.
Okay, first I managed to bend my paper. So here we go. Let's see if it sticks on. Hopefully it will. I will have a funny thing on the curved edge, but oops.
Wow. Cool.
Angel wing.
Very pretty.
So by contrasting, using the light colors to contrast your darker paper, you'll get this, nice stuff. Now the real challenge to see is if it sticks on after I rinse it off. So, try a couple angeling patterns. Start with the Gelget. On that one. And then a non-parade comb. It doesn't stick to the tree. So far, pretty much basically what we've been doing all along. But now in this next step, you're going to use a 2-inch comb. Now some of you have been doing this with other designs, so it won't be extremely difficult, but the trick to this one is that you do your little S curve as you go through, but just a gentle one. You don't want a real deep wave, because when you get to the end, you're going to not take your comb out, you're going to flip around and you're going to watch where the hump of the S is and intersect over it. So there's a little bit of tricky stuff to that, but once you figure out how to watch and go around that S and come back and just make it like a figure 8.
Yeah.
That's how your
Beautiful.
angel wing turns out. So it's pretty. It's just like very. I don't know, try this. Let's see if it shows up. It might be a little too dark for the design, but, and then of course we have to add. Now with copper, you got to make sure you really stir it because the pigments are heavier and they sink down. And you don't want to use an excessive amount of metallics because then it becomes muddy looking. I'm going to do Pray. And I'm going to wave it one time across. Sorry. cut my paper down, so I think I can squish 2 sheets in here, so. It's going to be very tight. So if you have 2 small sheets of paper, you can put them in together. Let's see if I alum well, and if everything sticks on, we'll be happy. Ooh. So there we are. So the metallics. Now, when this dries, you'll be able to see the metallics really well. Right now, it just kind of looks like it blends it, but the metallics will stand out once they dry. So then, again, just clean off your carrageenan, and as you start adding metallics in, it'll get real glittery. So if you use another sheet of paper that's not dark, you won't be able to see the metallics as well. If you use a yellow sheet of paper and try to use a metallic on it, it'll absorb right into the paper. It won't even show as a metallic. So the only way you're going to really see the metallic is with a dark sheet of paper. And there's enough black for each person to have 2. There's enough dark green for everybody to have at least 2. So go ahead and try some metallics.